out my arms and I touch you. With soft words I whisper your name. I had you right on the tips of my fingers, but I let it slip right through my hands. My eyes, they had a vision of your sweet lips yielding beneath my command. I had you right on the tips of my fingers, but I let you slip right through my hand. Someone took you when I wasn't looking. And you picked him. Now you're long, long way from the tips of my fingers, 'cause I let it slip right through my hands.
Like you run out of tape.
Yeah, we're not going to run out of tape, which is nice. So here we are. We are at Chateau Tuck for our first in-person interview here at the Rock and Roll Fashionistas. We are at an undisclosed location in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island. Now, Al, you're born in Prince Edward Island. Now, you weren't born in Charlottetown,
No.
right?
No.
Okay, where were you born?
Summerside.
Okay, so you're from like the other end of the island then.
I'm from the other end as well. Don't they say like where you were in your high school years is more kind of that's where your hometown?
Yeah, speaking of high school, so you graduated high school in Summerside.
In Montague.
Okay, now Montague is like the other end of Prince Edward Island. This sounds like a good story.
Well, I was born in Summerside. That's the capital of Prince County.
Right.
At the age of 8, we were transplanted here to Charlottetown,
Okay.
the capital of Queens County.
And the province.
Do you have listeners off the island?
Oh, sure. We have them everywhere.
Well,
oh,
this
yeah.
is for them.
Yeah.
And but then we moved down to Georgetown,
Nice.
which is perhaps surprisingly to some the capital of Kings County.
And that's a port town, isn't it? Georgetown.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit still, but deep. It has the deepest harbor,
Right, so-
deepest water in the port there. Yeah,
So the big ships could come in Georgetown.
yeah.
That's Three Rivers now, isn't it? Is that what they call that?
3 Rivers.
Yeah. Surrey, Georgetown, and we're giving everybody a PEI geography
I
lesson
don't know
here.
about Surrey, Cardigan, Georgetown, and Montague.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, no, that sounds about right. So you're in Georgetown. Now, how were you living in Georgetown when you were going to school in Montague?
Right. When we moved to Georgetown in 1980, I was going into grade 9.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in Georgetown, the school there, they did have a school, but it only ran to grade 8. So,
Right, yeah.
So I wasn't the only one. I was a new guy in town, waiting in the dark in the morning at the Clover Farm.
Right.
Or Love Arm, actually, because some of the letters came down.
Love Arm.
Right?
Yeah.
Waiting in the dark because
Yeah.
the sun wasn't up yet to take a school bus.
Yeah.
This was new to me, but it was new to some of them too. If they'd gone only to the school
Yeah.
up to grade 8
So this is for high school.
to go to Montague to the high school,
Montague High.
consolidated high school there. Yeah.
And you so I'm assuming you graduated from Montague High.
Well, yeah,
Okay. No,
by the skin of my teeth.
okay. For everyone concerned here, I didn't. I'm a total high school dropout.
Cool.
Yeah. I went to high school at Charlottetown Rural. Not that anyone cares, but I was there for grade 10, and it was a bad scene. The kids didn't really like me there, and so anyway, I had some problems, and so long story short, I finished grade 10, by skin of my teeth, got into grade 11 for like 2 weeks, and I was like, this is not for me. So, and then that was it. So I
Self-preservation.
very much so, yeah. So I quit, and then, well, I was not doing anything for close to a year, and finally my mom said, "Well, look, if I try to pull some strings and I can get you to Toronto, will you go back to high school?" So I was like, "Yeah, sure, definitely." So I did go back to high school, but dropped out again, not once but twice. So I dropped out of high school 3 times. I am not a high school graduate.
You never quit quitting.
I am not a quitter when it comes to quitting. So yeah, no, I'm not trying to be nosy. I was just curious. So you did graduate, and now I'm curious because you're well, it's weird when I think of the phrase literary writer, because it kind of sounds like this, like I think of it as the same thing, like I'm repeating myself. But I think of you as a very literary writer. So like was writing, did that interest you at all in high school?
Well, this is the thing right here, and I'm glad to have the chance to comment on that. But like those 4 years in Charlottetown, the schools here, the junior high in Charlottetown did not teach grammar.
Right.
The teachers were incapable of imparting any guidelines when it came to grammar.
See,
It was not part of the curriculum in
Right.
Charlottetown.
okay.
When we went in Montague, however,
Yeah.
I had a couple great English teachers, and the first one of which, I was behind the others. They had learned some grammar, right? Like
Right.
In Kings County.
Yeah.
So he realized that I needed to get with the program a bit here, and he saw I was bright enough to deal with it. He moved me up to the front of the class. And I got right into grammar. I can't remember what the past participle is now
Yeah,
or
the
whatever,
mechanics,
but
yeah.
I would say in songwriting, there's a few things more important than grammar, setting things up in such a way for maximum effect. It's grammar, really.
Yeah.
And I'll always remain grateful to him for kind of like, bearing down on it a bit and making sure I got more inspired by the whole subject. Because I feel like I keep thinking, a lot of it is grammar of a kind. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Fred Rose had more proper grammar and maybe brought a bit of that to Hank Williams songs,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not sure. Hank seemed to have grammar himself, but it's a thing. And then then I went to post-secondary school there, King's College, and it's pretty much a literary bastion of literary preoccupation, right? So
you went off island.
that's right. Yeah, I wasn't going to move back to Charlottetown because I had trouble here
Sure.
before too. After I sang
Yeah.
the national anthem before a junior A hockey championship game,
Okay, so this sounds good.
and I was bullied after that, even worse.
You sang the national anthem at a hockey game.
Yeah.
And so was it a cappella? Did you have your guitar?
No, I didn't play guitar. I was a choir boy, and the choir master recommended me
Right.
as this because at that time I was the soloist in the choir,
Wow.
and we toured through Maine and New Maritimes occasionally, and did a lot of stuff locally. We played the center. It was a normal thing to go to the center to sing, in
Right.
choir.
Yeah.
I've only been back once to sing one song since, but
You've only been on the Confederation Center stage once since then?
yeah,
That's a sin. That we have to rectify that.
I can't even get on the open mic stage now. But
Well, there's clearly something wrong with the system if Al Tuck can't is having difficulty getting on the stage of the Confederation Center of the Arts. So
But the thing
choir
is-
boy, I had no idea.
But you see, like, choir boy, this was the activities of the choir could go for a long time went undetected by the general public or whatever people that I would know at school.
Right.
But once I stepped out into this singing the national anthem for the hockey game,
The spotlight was on you.
the jig was up for me.
Right.
Back then you were a fairy if you sang, right?
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. It was a rough time back then. It's nothing like how it is now.
But the funny thing is, I was such a hockey fan,
Right.
and good player if it was street hockey,
Yeah.
but I couldn't skate, and I had
Oh,
never
okay.
been on the ice there until I was singing the national anthem.
So you walked out onto the
All
ice.
the players are lined up on the blue lines.
Yeah.
The dignitaries are there,
Yeah.
and I was in my best clothes. I don't know if I had a suit, but basically I imitated. I had seen little else on Hockey Night in Canada, but
Yeah.
hockey players spitting.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Well, they're spitting out the water they just drank.
Yeah.
They can't be carrying that around,
Yeah.
maybe, or they're just spitting. Islanders spit a lot. Or
Yeah.
spat a lot, right?
Yeah,
Spitting was a thing.
that's right.
And I figured, well, this is a place to spit. But I was there to sing the national anthem, not to,
Yeah.
I think I was one of the guys on the blue line. They could spit. Right?
Sure, yeah.
My poor grandmother up in the rafters with my father, she said, Allan sounded very nice, but why was he spitting so much?
Al, that's gold. Even just hearing you, I've never heard you called Allan before.
I was Allan until I had to facilitate the pun. When the band,
right.
I changed to Al. Did you not know? Like when No Action, I named the band No Action.
Yeah.
Al Tuck and No Action. I wasn't Al before that. It was to facilitate that pun.
Okay, well there you go. So we've got an origin story of how we see. There you go, kids. You never know what kind of juicy information, details you're gonna get here at the Rock and Roll Fashionistas. There you have it. We've got Al Tuck, who was always Allan Tuck, and for anyone who knows Al Tuck, it just sounds so foreign to one's ears. But here we are finding out that he was actually Allan all along. And then it came to the music career, when it came time to name the band. Again, when I say that you're a very literary writer, that pun, Al Tuck and No Action. Okay, I mean, you don't get much more brilliant and fun than that, unless of course, well, there's that famous show you did at the Rebecca Cohen, and there is an independent recording that I recall you putting out that sold very well when it was on consignment at the record store back in the day. It was the talk of the town. There were 2 tracks on that album, but the one is that Ain't That Bigamy.
Okay.
Ain't that bigamy?
Wouldn't that be bigamy?
Wouldn't that be bigamy? Yeah, that's classic Al Tuck for sure.
If I had 2 women and my friend had none, I'd keep one of them and give my friend one. Tempting, but you just can't have everyone. Wouldn't that be bigamy? I married a gal in a pinstripe suit. The maid of honor said you do look cute. Told her I wasn't going to go that route. Wasn't that bigamy? Got me a gal who'll be so true to me, even if she leaves me to go overseas for just a year or maybe 2 or 3. Call that monogamy. Just my guitar and a few lame licks. I headed far into the deep dark sticks and left the bar with the 3 sharp chicks from a symphony. If I felt free to do just as I please, I would go down upon my bended knees and give you each a dazzling diamond ring. But wouldn't that be bigamy? I always seem to have you on my mind. I love you, girl, but you got hard to find. These other women treat me so kind. They really dig me, but it's twice a headache and it's twice a tear. I want to lose all of these others, dear, and love you only through your twilight years. got 2 women and my friend had none. I'd keep one of them and give my friend one. Tempting, but you just can't have everyone. Wouldn't that be bigamy?
But there was another song that you did that evening, which I believe was entered into it was a songwriting contest, right? Yeah. And that song became kind of the unofficial anthem of the Halifax music scene for a while. That was a big track. Everybody talked about that track.
Wow.
People sang it. They sang along with it when you were playing it at the Cohen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On the recording, it's too bad the audience doesn't get picked up as much. The singing of the audience is not as audible as it was there. Yeah. That could, it was recorded at the back of the room, so everybody, I don't know. That's, the only drawback I can think of to that recording there is it just wasn't as rich as the singing of the audience was less of a factor on the recording. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
So, that sure is good. Here I've played the Rebecca Cohen since I was 12 or 13. Yeah. For some reason, I entered into a songwriting contest. I haven't done that since I was 11. But it occurred to me I could use the prizes, so I entered. So far, I'll run the regional prize. I'm going to Toronto to play it in March. Church in England fair, and I thought, well, what do I do? Did I look at the names in the book that was there from the days when the people were small and few? No, I did not look into the book that was there, and I sang not one hymn, nor said one prayer. I just stood so tall in that little pew from the days when the people were small and few. left in days when the people were small and few. I've been told there are more people living now than are dead and buried in the ground, and that the tall ones among them stood just 5'2" in the days when the people were small and few.
Or I had them singing 5-0, and
5-0.
there's a trumpet player, Caleb Hamilton, planted in the audience.
Oh, lovely.
Half
Lovely.
unbeknownst to me, I put him on the guest list, and he had been bringing his horn to my gigs and doing that.
Right.
Just kind of like playing from the audience, but shocking the
Yeah.
pants off everybody.
That would just planted right in the middle of the audience.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know he was going to do it, and
really,
basically we upstaged Hayden by doing by doing that, because like you can't beat that, right?
no.
Didn't mean to upstage him.
No.
But it happened.
Well, so is that recording? Is it commercially available now? That album?
On Bandcamp.
Oh, it is. Okay.
I only have one copy
Oh, okay.
left myself, you know.
So I probably just have a few more minutes, I would say, according to my calculations. Here's a song of mine I wrote about the amount of time it takes to play it. I was lying in someone's lap. Made it up right there. But it's not dirty. Actually, it is. You gotta sing along in the chorus. It's called 5-0. Breaking of the law, 'tis a serious business. At the Wailing Wall, Sonny's taking a whiz. 5-0. You better run. 5-0. You gotta sing right after me, 'cause here they come. 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. Next time you can do that. Sonny had a date with somebody named Sandy, but he could not wait, and they caught them in the can. 5-0. 5-0. You better run. 5-0. 5-0. 'Cause here they come. 5-0. 5-0. Nowhere to go. 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. Sonny made it big, so we bought him some blows. And what good is a party if the cops don't show? 5-0. You better run. 5-0. 'Cause here they come. 5-0. Nowhere to go. 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. Reading Jonah in the whale and the dark night of the soul. Sonny's in the jail, but he's digging up run. Ho, 5-0. 5-0. You better run. 5-0. 5-0. 'Cause here they come. 5-0. 5-0. That's the way to blow. 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. Sonny made it out. Now he's running, living on the bus, staring out the window. He don't know who to trust. 5-0. You better run. 5-0. 'Cause here they come. 5-0. Nowhere to go. 5-0, 5-0, 5-0. I know one more mercy. I just wrote it the other day. That's the big hand for Caleb Hamilton. So, count your little blessings if your life's a little slow. Sonny hears the sirens everywhere he goes. 5-0. 5-0. I've been abandoned. 5-0. Where'd everybody go? 5-0. 5-0. 5-0. One last time, Caleb. What the hell not? I think security should be alerted. I don't know how that guy made it in here with that thing. Times like these, I think you should be more careful. And, you know, I guess he can stay.
Well, you know, after this interview, I'm gonna run on down to Bandcamp to see what's in the Al Tuck shop, because I mean, you've got quite a legacy. I mean, going all the way back to Bluegrass Lawnmower, again with the literaryisms, Bluegrass Lawnmower. You know, the man's dropping pearls for many years now.
Nothing ever came of it. I think we were talking about, like, I had a Johnny Cash had a he was affiliated with the Toronto Dominion Bank there for a while.
Oh, yeah, right.
There's a cardboard cutout of Johnny Cash with his guitar in a tuxedo.
Right.
That I ended up getting. Somebody took it back to my place and left
Someone
it there.
stole it.
The head was missing.
Right. Oh, they decapitated.
So the guests could, like, put
I
themselves in
see.
Johnny's
Right.
shoes.
Yeah.
And,
there's like Polaroids of people of doing this somewhere.
Yeah.
It exists somewhere.
So somehow out of this, David Henry like got this idea about like having the band be like all cardboard.
Christmas evening, Mama and the sun is going down. Christmas evening, it's Christmas evening, it's Christmas evening, Mama and the sun is going down. Ain't it lonesome? Ain't it lonesome when the ones you love just ain't around? Might be working, oh, and you can't go home. Might be an orphan, left in this world all alone. Whatever reason, I don't know. I don't care. Ain't it lonesome? Ain't it lonesome when you want your love just ain't there?
It involved a freezer too, but I never did
freezer?
understand that. Like,
I've heard of a fridge. I know Tom Waits and Charles Bukowski had beer fridges on stage, but a freezer, like you need a freezer full of meat to get
Bukowski
through.
went on stage.
Well, just for spoken word. And actually, I thought maybe that's where Tom Waits got the idea. I was lucky enough to see him play Massey Hall a number of years ago. He used a player piano as his opening act, and then they go into 40-odd-6 or something like that.
How long was the opener?
It was just, I think it was 2 songs on the player piano.
That's enough.
But he had a fridge on the stage too. And the whole show, I'm thinking like, what's with the fridge? What's he going to do with the fridge? And then all it was is about 3/4 of the way through the show, he walked over to the fridge, he opened it up, and it goes, nothing. Because there was nothing in the fridge. But then I saw footage of Bukowski doing a reading, and he had the same fridge, except it was full of beer. And it would have been in L.A. And I know Tom Waits was a big Bukowski fan, so I'm thinking that's where he got the idea of. But I'm getting off topic
But to
here.
play a piano, I mean, that's no brainer, really. Actually, now that I think about it, I want one.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like remember the Jonathan Demme movie of the Talking Heads stop making sense, and they start that show with the boombox.
Right.
He Byrne comes up to the stage and he's got the boombox and he presses play, and it just starts playing, I think, the rhythm section of one of the songs, and then they just start adding all the instruments acoustically until they get the whole band thing. So
Stupendous.
yeah, there's lots of cool ways you can. So we're talking about starting shows. Let's talk about ending a show. Last Dance at the El Strado.
Last Waltz.
Last Waltz. I stand corrected. One of my favorites of yours. Interestingly, it's an instrumental, but this bad boy's got some serious swang to it. I remember the first time I ever saw you with a band was I was walking into a Beerley's, the Barrington Street location just closed, and I just happened to walk in the second you hit the stage and opened with Last Waltz at the El Strado, and it was such a moment. It's No Action is like a revolving cast of like whoever you can pretty much find, right? I mean, I'm not saying just anybody off the street. I mean, obviously these are very fine musicians.
Well, yeah, and I don't know. It's a good band name, but I stopped using it certainly for the recordings and largely for the shows. In St. John's over in Newfoundland,
Yeah.
the fellers that generally turn up there to back me up,
Right.
they dubbed themselves No Filter. It was outside the Rose and Thistle
Yeah.
on Water Street
Okay.
before a gig.
Right.
And I had one of my little pinners.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's no room
yeah.
for a filter in there. And I'd be sharing it with Booby. I'd be sharing it with Dwayne.
Right. Right. No
Passing
filter.
along, but not even a filter.
No
It was
filter.
like barely anything
Yeah.
you could even...
Yeah.
So they named themselves, and it's not always me coming up with the clever names,
Yeah.
you know, like I just have an ear for it
Yeah.
when I hear it, right?
Yeah.
And I know what to make out of it. So in St. John's, if the band had a name there, probably to this day, I would hope,
Yeah.
it'd be No Filter. Al Tuck and
Al
No
Tuck
Filter.
and No Filter. Well, the thing, it's interesting that to hear you comment on the No Action name and how you're not really using it any longer, or like certainly not for the names of the albums. But the way I've always taken it as a fan, that when I see a gig of yours listed, if it says Al Tuck, then I'm expecting to see you with the guild or maybe the mandolin. But if I see Al Tuck and No Action, I'm expecting a rhythm section. Like I'm expecting a bass player and a drummer.
Yeah.
So
And this is where it all, I would say there was almost pivotal how it all went wrong for me back in those days,
yeah,
which you remember.
yeah,
The 90s with the coast. Suddenly Halifax had like a weekly entertainment rag
yeah.
that was kind of like more fashioned after Rolling Stone or something, you know.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you know, if you want to get on the cover of that,
Sure.
right?
You were on the cover of it.
I have it over there.
Oh, nice.
just that once.
We're gonna take a picture of that. We'll,
Okay.
if Al will let us.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Oh, I'd be happy if it was on the internet. Like, what I'm about to say is
Yeah.
like, it seemed like every time. Now, I am to blame more than anyone. It is I who am to blame for this. Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't trying, nor was anybody on my behalf trying to, you know, communicate with the offices there at the coast,
Okay. Yeah.
which would publish a really clear schedule of entertainment that week.
Yes.
Whatever, each night.
Yeah.
It was easy to find.
Very, very easy. Yeah.
Why, as an aside, why in every city, all of a sudden, at a certain point, why did that go by the wayside then? You could not see a comprehensive listing of entertainment in one place in a paper.
Yeah.
I don't know. Now it's more kind of like, you know, here's your special event coming up 2 months later or something, you know.
Yeah.
But anyway, it just seemed, it was uncanny actually how you get gigs, right?
Yeah.
It seemed like every time I had a gig where, to my mind, the appropriate thing would be me solo,
Right.
you know. The Coast would publicize those gigs as Al Tuck and No Action.
Oh.
And yet, on the other hand, if
Yeah.
there was a gig that certainly called for a band,
Yeah.
and I was going to I hired the band,
Right. Yeah.
and I don't know why, but like those always seem to be advertised as Al Tuck. It was ass backwards,
Yeah,
more often than not.
Yeah.
And I am to blame for not keeping, you know, like poking my nose in more and making sure of these things. And nor was anybody on my behalf. But like, I'd see that same picture, and you can't find it if you Google it now,
Right.
of me sitting in front of the Trident Cafe.
Right.
Brian would love to have it in his film, maybe, but like I don't know where to get it. It was in the Coast every third week.
Yeah. No.
You know, I ran into Kyle a couple of years ago because there was some Sloan thing,
Right.
and I could tell he was just like made no bones about it. He had not a clue what the hell I've been doing for
Right.
many the year,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Again,
Yeah.
did I drop off a CD at the office? No. I'm sorry I didn't.
Yeah. The unfortunate business of music sucks. Right? Like just the whole business of it.
Well, it'd be cool if it was like good old American business and you could make it that way. But here it's government. Usually you have to be affixed to some wing of the government or whatever you want to be perceived as being active or worthwhile or whatever. Like it's Canada is more of a communist country that way, and I always just like pretended that I was like gonna fucking get somewhere the good old American way with no grants and grant applications.
Absolutely, yeah.
And just on the strength of the act, right?
Of the material, yeah.
But it didn't work out,
But you know what though? Everyone who hears the material, it completely resonates with them. Like I remember the very first time I heard your music was someone that I had met who was living in Halifax raved about your music, and they had the first album, the one that has
Arhoolie?
No, I guess Arhoolie's the first. The one after, the one that has
Brave Last Days.
Brave Last Days, of course, yeah.
Hot in the heels of Arhoolie.
Yeah, they had Brave Last Days, and it blew my mind. And then there was another Haligonian who ended up working at the record store that I was working at, and he had a ton of your stuff too. And we were all listening to it, and hot off the heels of just finding out who you were, Mike Greaterax comes into the store, and he's got a copy of your latest album, which was quite a departure. It was the album where there was a lot of rhythm. It was like a lot of percussion.
New High Road of Song?
New High Road of Song.
2000, yeah. Turn of the century.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I worked on that for years, right? It was 6 years between the second album that came so fast after the first.
Yeah.
And the third album. It was a long time, and I remember thinking like every year I had a different excuse for why hadn't been another one.
Everybody's looking at me. Everybody is looking at me. Not I. Not I. Not I. Not I. Everybody else seems to think they're so unique. Everybody else seems to think they're so unique. Not I. Not I. Not I. Not I. Who wouldn't want to be your baby? Who wouldn't want to be your baby? Not I. No, not I. Not I. No, no, not I. But if you want to party, you got the right. But believe me when I tell you that they gonna be there, don't you worry. Anyone who's anyone is gonna be there, don't you worry. Just not I. Just not I. No, not I. Gonna go and get the Buddha? Who's gonna go and get the Buddha? Not I. No, not I. Not I. No, not I.
But you know, from the opening rhythms, the opening beats of that album, one of my favorite memories was I worked at the Sam the Record Man on Yonge Street in Toronto, but I didn't work in the rock department. All the cool kids got to work in the rock department. I worked upstairs in the jazz department. But
Same as me in Halifax.
yeah, that's right. In well, I always kind of thought you was in more like the folk blues.
Well, they're all.
Section.
It was all up.
It was
there,
all
on
up
the
there.
third
Yeah.
floor. Yeah.
Yeah. Sue's Domain. God love her. God rest her soul. But one day I was covering in the rock department, like the main part, the big old bank that was like right on the corner. The acoustics were great, and I dropped that album because Mike had given me a play copy of it, and man, with that bass and that drum.
I'm on the mend, 'cause I've been working. I've been raking leaves and loading wood, and in the evening been making music. The people going to want to hear it because it's very good. I'm on the road, I'm feeling lucky, I'm a happy soul to have understood. Yep, that you got to be good, to be lucky. Oh, and you got to be lucky, to be good. And to top it all off, my dear, come ya. We'll eliminate ya. We'll eliminate ya. We'll eliminate you now. So we'll eliminate ya. We'll eliminate ya. We'll eliminate ya. We'll eliminate you now.
I think Gord Downey covered that song, did he not? He covered that song with Big Sugar.
Gord Johnson.
Oh, sorry, Gord. Yeah, I'm getting my Gords. Lightfoot, Downey, Johnson. We got a lot of good
Roach.
Gordie Howe, Gordie Roach. Absolutely.
That's more like it.
That's right. But yeah, he covered that song.
He did in a big way.
Yeah.
And
I prefer the original. I prefer your version.
well, it doesn't have a video. My version wasn't satisfactory, and I kind of like his was almost more what I had in mind.
Really, it's kind of a harder rock.
Well, he had different. There's different versions they did, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're talking about Big Sugar, which quite prominent. Not to all, but like to many.
Yeah.
Big Sugar, yeah. Now, Gord, the first time I met him, Joel brought him to a show I did at the North End pub in Halifax.
Nice to see you.
They were working on Ashtray Rock or something.
Oh, right. Yeah, great.
And Joel wanted to turn him on to me.
Yeah, nice.
I guess, or like it was something to do.
Yeah.
So that's where I met him, and that was okay, whatever. I didn't know. In the interim, Joel kind of pitched that song to him, "We'll Eliminate You," which was the first song on this album.
They named their album after that.
And tour.
And it was the Eliminate You tour.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the medley they did at the end with the reggae legend, I've forgotten
Yes.
his name.
Yeah. The dub. Yeah. The dub version.
He had like some kind of like anthemic hit from the 70s or something.
Right. Yeah.
It was a medley with my song, Eliminate Ya.
Yeah.
But I thought it was so cool how like Big Sugar's version, well, you could say it morphed, I think, from what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
I listened to some of the live versions.
Yeah.
After he set me up with like 4 or 5 different mixes. One was for radio.
Right.
One was for this and one was for that, extended to limited, everything.
Yeah.
He sprung this on me out of the blue. I was sitting in Hunter River
Oh, what were you doing in Hunter River?
living.
Oh, right. Okay.
And that's the middle of PEI, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Anybody wants
I
to
know
know.
it well. I dated a girl from Wheatley River, and so they're like brother and sister. They're very near cousins.
That's right. I was living in Hunter River. My daughter was going to the elementary school there, so I thought it should be in the village.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a bad place to be, really.
No, it's nice country out there.
Had a nice little spot right on the river there.
Oh, lovely.
And the river, though, is a rare one in that there's a fellow there who has they used to have like these, is it a mill or
Yes.
you make something out of the river, like the energy of the water.
Yeah, the sawmill.
Propels no, it's not a sawmill.
It's
It's a water mill.
a water mill. Yeah, I know what you mean.
Anyways, in this case, it's a water mill with something like I picture a light switch,
Right.
which will turn the river on or off.
Wow.
And if he's out in Alberta
Yeah.
and he wants to turn the river off, you call home and tell his son to turn the river off.
Right.
So sometimes the river was a river,
Yeah.
but if they turned it off for some reason, then the grass would shoot up.
Oh, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Or like how all
Like low tide.
the grow, and instead of water, you'd have like foliage.
Yeah.
And there was all this Japanese bamboo there that sprouted up, hard to get rid of. And somewhere under the ground, septic.
Oh.
People used to use large 70s vehicles for septic tanks.
I did not know that, but see the things that you get to learn about septic industrial inventions, when you're listening to Rock and Roll Fashionistas. Sounds like there could be is there a song in there? Did you get around to writing a tune about that?
Well, no, but the song I wrote out there that's on topic was "There Is a God,"
Oh, lovely.
because at the time when Gord Johnson called, to tell me that like his band had covered my number and was rolling it out as the flagship song on
On their tour.
he wasn't talking about the tour, he was talking about radio.
Right, yeah.
And I told him, like, Gord, like, I always envisioned that song, even when I was writing it,
Yeah.
I was trying to make it like a sports anthem,
Oh, interesting.
a la Freddie Mercury, right? Like
Right.
the king of sports anthems.
Yeah. Is that where, like, lyrically eliminate you?
Yeah.
I'm going to, like, being eliminated from the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Right.
Oh, I never made that connection.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, he had connections with the Maple Leafs. And in
Oh.
this call when he's telling me, like, this is it, like, we're putting it all on your song or whatever, like,
Right.
and we can get this in the rink
Yeah.
if that's what you wanted, like,
Yeah.
But, like, can you imagine any Maple Leaf fans singing with any sincerity en masse that they were going to eliminate anyone? And it was only recently that I realized that that's why, perhaps, it didn't happen.
It didn't. It's
Because, like, he picked the wrong team. Or he had connections with the wrong team.
right. Yeah. If it would have been like the Penguins.
Somebody that could eliminate somebody. And it'd be like the sports stadiums in Europe. Or this football, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The football.
The trouble is when I wrote it,
Yeah.
I'm getting excited. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
This is great. I had no idea.
I was woodshedding in Hubbard's, Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
I had just been held up at gunpoint, and the Coast published an expose of my my story about that, and didn't feel safe in the Halifax area because the Coast's circulation had expanded suddenly,
Right.
and I could easily picture it being in the jail. You know, like,
Oh, yeah.
like a stack of the Coast in the jail.
Yeah.
And that guy James Covey wrote the whole thing up. I was just happy to tell. You don't get held up at gunpoint every day.
No.
Working in the Daily Planet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just told him, and he wrote it up, put my name in the paper, and my picture. It was one time they got it all right.
They got it right that time. Yeah. Yeah.
And they, they chased after and caught the robber, right?
That was in Hubbard's.
This was in Halifax.
Oh, afterwards.
And I started forward tracking what would become, in a very roundabout way, New High wrote a song.
Oh, okay.
The album you mentioned.
Yeah.
It all ties together. Magically for me, thank you.
Yeah.
But the Maple Leafs, their fans cannot chant with any degree of sincerity.
Yeah. No.
We'll eliminate chant.
Well, there was, I think,
But their Big Sugar's version morphed from, like, it was reggae at first, and there was one mix that had, the fella came in and he toasted at the end. He improvised on it. And it was all just too cool to be true.
Yeah.
And we even compared notes in that one call. It's still our most recent conversation.
Yeah.
About how, like, I told him my left hand is paralyzed and I can't play the guitar. Except one string up and down. I can't make chords. And he said, Al, this got him going because, like, not that long before, he had difficulty with carpal tunnel syndrome.
Yeah.
And just to show what good old American style, Texas style businessman he is, when he got the call from Thorogood's management,
right,
offering him the opening slot on the upcoming Thorogood tour, even though he was incapable of playing his Les Paul or whatever it is he plays, double nick.
Yeah.
I don't know, but his first thought was his best thought.
Yeah.
Said, well, currently I'm doing like a slide gospel blues project.
Right. Yeah.
Slide.
Yeah.
Right? Because who cares? It's a slide. You don't have to fret it.
Yeah.
So, bang. He wasn't going to say, I can't play right now. No.
Yeah.
And he went and recorded like slide gospel blues number.
Yeah.
Submitted it. Got the gig. Continued to record each night the rest of that week. 7 or 8 more.
Mm-hmm.
And had an album that sold thousands.
Yeah.
On the tour he did opening for Thorogood.
Wow. I did not know. I knew that he had some problems playing guitar, but I did not know that that's one of the ways that he solved the problem, kind of serendipitously through an offer from Thorogood's management to open the tour.
Well, my way of solving my problem was to write one a cappella. And it was There Is a God, which is I held off on writing gospel songs.
Yeah.
Because that was the one I was looking for, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember working very hard on that in Hunter River. There was a bed spring in the backyard there, and my daughter was out there, and my son's mother too, as it turned out, and they were bouncing on the bed spring the whole time, very patiently, while I toiled away on this, but like for the big ending, I remember I had to go and find the book, the Bible,
Right.
for the Book of Revelation, and like get some like a big ending, right? Because
Yeah.
that's
the material.
Yeah, you need if you're ventured into this area,
Yeah.
you want to be connected up right,
Yeah.
you know. And I was just nailing down the 9th verse of this song,
Right.
and that's being conservative.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But I mean, he wasn't born yet, but Ivan's mother, Melissa, became impatient by then and almost prevented me from finishing
Right.
what I considered to be an important piece, right?
Yeah. Which album is that on?
That's on Stranger at the Wake.
Oh, lovely, lovely. Yeah. Stranger at the Wake came after Fair Country, didn't it?
No, it was the other way around.
I got to do my research more.
Well, it's a bit weird. I'm glad everything you bring up is like intriguing to me. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, it's my
I
pleasure.
can straighten something out here, you know, if anybody cares. I got with this label. It was like my favorite kind, the fly-by-night.
Oh, yeah.
Kind, right?
Yeah.
Like
the Brogdignasian, or I could never pronounce the name of that record label.
You just did.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I got the Gulliver's Travels upstairs.
Right. That's right. Yeah.
Ivan's into that. But, yeah, I got with Cameron House Records in Toronto.
Right.
It's a bar, really.
The Cameron, right,
you know,
the bar,
long.
yeah. You probably have played there a number of times.
At a certain point there, the bar manager and label manager, Mike McEwen, better known as Q,
Right.
lives here in town now,
Okay.
managing Whitney Rose. He went way into my stuff. He was like into it. Like
Yeah.
we had happened to have like a road trip around here. But Stranger at the Wake was a recording that I had put together from sessions all over the East Coast, really, like
Right.
ranging from God knows where.
Mm-hmm.
It certainly wasn't done in, maybe a bit of it in Toronto,
Yeah.
but it wasn't like, didn't come out of that. At that time, I fell in with all the great players around that scene,
Right.
and they were backing me live, and we got around to making a recording.
Mm-hmm.
But at the peak of like Q's affiliation with me,
Yeah.
Cameron House Records put out Stranger at the Wake. They don't have winter tires on rental cars, just so you know. Today we slid across the Rockies through ice, sleet, and snow. My friend has retired to our room for a break. Guess that leaves me to be the stranger at the wake. Yea, lucky me, I am the stranger at the wake. Didn't know when we came here this would be the scene of a memorial gathering. It's so cold, going out would seem a mistake.
advice that you could take, and where you are the stranger at the wake. Atlantic theme bar with the fishnets and jokes, donairs and frank magazines for Halifax folks. I feel so at home, think my heart it might break. I'm a lot like Joan, burning slow at the stake. Long way from home, I am the stranger at the wake. Too many parties and too many pals, too many buddies and not enough gals. Only so long one man can ache. Do you think she's here? That certain friend we need to make. Strange game to play when you're the stranger at the wake. Give me Guinness and Bushmills, doubles if you please. Or you could save us some trouble by pouring in threes. I have not had as much as I can take. I come in peace. There's more that I can make. I'll spend it all. I am the stranger at the wake. I can't help but wonder what everyone thinks as the waitress keeps serving me never-ending drinks. I'm the real McCoy. I feel quite the rake. You've been too kind. Whatever's left is yours to take. I am resigned to be the stranger at the wake. No, I didn't know her, she never knew me. Though I know I've forgotten two or three, maybe, give or take. 9 or 10
But that was then. Now I'm the stranger at the wake. So smiling, so cheerful, like many of her age, or at least judging by her Facebook page. They've projected up there on that screen by the stage. And still no clue why her own life she did take. What can you do when you're the stranger at the wake? Some music was played, not too great, truth be told, as I knocked back my last glasses, one black and one gold, wanting to sing some song for somebody's sake. But I take my leave, leaving them to speculate. Who was that man? Who was the stranger at the wake? Was that man? Who was the stranger at the wake? But it was already accomplished, the material. Mm-hmm. They were just into it, right?
Yeah.
And, I mean, they had a bias to bands that came out of that bar in Toronto or whatever, but
Yeah.
I'd been there often enough, so it made some kind of sense.
Yeah.
But it's funny that by the time I recorded the follow-up to that, I believe, Fair Country,
Yeah.
with the band, the guys that
Yeah.
play there, and it was a thoroughly Toronto thing. I'd met Aaron Como. Q had given me Aaron Como's number, and
Yeah.
it was my dream producer.
Nice.
East End.
Oh, no.
Off the Danforth.
Right.
You know,
Okay. Yeah.
the thing is, like, it was ironic, I guess, in that, like, by the time I made this record, it was thoroughly like Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
Even though several of the players had maritime connections.
Yeah.
Nicely. Might have had some sort of hard to interpret falling out with the Cameron House by then.
Right.
And had to go looking for another fly-by-night label to put it out. And So on a trip through Sackville, New Brunswick,
Yeah.
the young guy there who was receiving the mantle at the time, he was like more into like ideas and things
Okay.
and
Right.
music. Somebody had the idea. Was it Paul Henderson? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm putting out my album as a Matchbox with a download code because
Yeah.
back then, like that's where it was at, right?
Yeah, that's right.
And we could talk for hours about antiquated technologies and
We sure could.
preconceived self-obliteration.
That, it's interesting you mention that because that's the very first download album I ever bought.
Yeah.
Was yeah, I still have it.
My matchboxes are empty. I don't even have.
Yeah,
I've got 100. I've got thousands of codes. The Bandcamp gives me more. Anybody wants this?
because you've got the codes.
I've got so many codes. I can't remember how to find them, but I have a lot of codes for that album.
Well, if you're lucky enough to get a code from Al, it's possibly one of my favorite country albums, and which surprised me because I've certainly never thought of you as a country artist. I mean, but there's kind of a nod to it, even with the title itself. Fair country. Fair country.
Well, it's fair country. I'm a modest person, right?
Yeah, fair to middling.
It's not country. The vocals aren't country, I don't think. But
No.
Somehow about the format and the material, a lot of it is.
A lot of catchy
country
songs on that album.
Yeah, the guy who mastered it did a great job. That was one of those albums that I made with Aaron Como in Toronto in a very short time, live off the floor, without. Well, perhaps you forget about some of the fuss that goes into it, but
Yeah.
that one and the tribute to Gene McClellan, which followed it, I think, in the days of the Looking Glass.
Yeah.
We're done in a very brief time, old school, live off the floor.
Yeah.
The players, I couldn't have been more grateful to the talented denizens of the Cameron House.
Yeah.
That came down and recorded those albums with me. Like,
I'm sure they felt that it was an honor to work with you. You're one of our country's most important songwriters.
Big sister's in the bathroom. It's the only one we've got. She's trying hard to give herself some style. So if you gotta go, better get yourself a pot. 'Cause I have a feeling this is going to take a while. She's getting dolled up for some little loser who just called up. She's getting dolled up. Big sister's getting all dolled up. She has a leather mini and a fake ID. She's straightening and combing out her hair. When mom and dad get home, they're going to find only me. 'Cause this is gone out and she didn't tell me where. She's getting dolled up, she's getting all wet for some jerk from juvie who she just met. She's getting dressed up to get messed up. Big sister's getting all dolled up.
What I find interesting, so we're talking here from Prince Edward Island, and a lot of people, when you talk about Prince Edward Island, there's two people who come to mind. You just mentioned one, Gene McClellan, and Stompin' Tom, which, and all due respect to both gentlemen, but neither one were actually born here. True. Whereas you are a Prince Edward Island son. And
well, thank you, but my folks my mother's from BC and my father's from Nova Scotia. So,
but you're from here.
I was born here.
I'm glad you mentioned Gene McClellan because, obviously one of the things he only made, I believe it was 2 albums, I think, that he made.
More than that.
Oh, really? Okay. I thought maybe I'm thinking of on the one record label, like Capitol, I think it was.
Right.
But obviously, the big song, Snowbird, which, mostly because of the Anne Murray version, it's a real plucky version. I mean, obviously, big hit. It made a lot of people's careers. Well, it helped make her career. It certainly helped put Gene on the map. But I'd like to, for the record right now, say that your version of Snowbird, for me, it's right up there with Ian Tyson's Four Strong Winds for like a Canadian anthem.
Beneath its snowy mantle, cold and clean, the unborn grass lies waiting for its coat to turn to green. The snowbird sings a song he always sings, speaks to me of flowers that will bloom again in spring. When I was young, my heart was young then too, and anything that it would tell me, that's the thing that I would do. But now I feel such emptiness within, for the thing that I want most in life's the thing that I can't win. Spread your tiny wings and fly away, and take the snow back with you where it came from on that day. The one I love forever is untrue, and if I could, you know that I would fly away with you. My mind says that I only want to be a wanderer, and just like you, I'm longing to be free. But in my heart I know that
it's just a lie. For without her love, the vision of my happiness would die. The breeze along the river seems to say she'd only break my heart again should I decide to stay. So little snowbird, take me with you when you go to that land of gentle breezes where the peaceful waters flow. Spread your tiny wings and fly away, and take the snow back with you where it came from on that day. The one I love forever is untrue. If I could, you know that I would fly away with you. Yeah, if I could, you know that I would fly away.
The sensitivity that you put, the heartfelt, just everything is the tempo. It's like this meditation. It's exactly the opposite of what Anne Murray and her people did in the studio.
I don't know who it was who posted it on YouTube. I guess I should be grateful for that. But the visual for it
Right.
is a picture of me looking suave from a few years before,
Right.
in Halifax.
Well, why don't
And it's a strange juxtaposition.
Yeah.
It makes me look like more like the Playboy,
Right.
and it sort of might detract from the import of the performance. You know, like.
Yeah.
That's all I can say, but I'm glad, you know, there's a way to listen to it.
Well, you know what? I think what we'll do is we're going to find a more suitable photograph, and we are going to post. We're going to, with Al's permission, because we have a at Rock and Roll Fashionistas, as you may be aware, but we do have a YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube and you just type in Rock and Roll Fashionistas, and that's not the word and, A-N-D, it's the letter N. So Rock and Roll Fashionistas, you type that in when you go to YouTube, and you're going to find us. Now, apparently, we're just hearing for the first time that as magnificent as Al's recording of Snowbird is, someone has posted it on YouTube with a graphic that Al feels is not appropriate for the song.
Thank you.
So we're going to take, we'll get a photograph that Al's happy with. And we're gonna post it on Rock and Roll Fashionistas, just nice. So you've got a nice visual that you can accompany. Because I completely understand that. I do find it distracting when I'm just trying to find a song. I just want to listen to a song. I go to YouTube, and there's some annoying graphic that accompanies the song. I prefer it mostly when it's just like a picture of the album cover, maybe.
Well, it's funny because like that, the image that I'm referring to,
Yeah.
I considered and perhaps should have used for an album cover
Okay.
earlier.
Right.
Before all this, I came back to PEI, right?
Mm-hmm.
It would have been probably, and maybe I'll still do it, but you hate to change an album cover 3 times. My Blues Away
Yes.
was 33 1/3.
Right.
And I couldn't handle the cover. I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I just never tried a close-up like that
Right.
with a mustache.
Yeah.
But I saw it at my aunt's place sitting on the coffee table. And I was like, just isn't right. You know, like, especially, here locally or
Yeah.
whatever, like, what is that? So I changed it to this kind of blurry,
The blurry blue,
thing
yeah.
that I couldn't even see on the consignment shelf in
Yeah.
the store in Toronto.
That's right.
I was there for 10, 20 minutes looking for it. It
you
was
can't-
there,
And
but
you
I
couldn't
couldn't
find
see
your own album.
because it looked so faint and blue.
Yeah.
Blue.
Absolutely.
Blue will be overriddled by red and yellow. And
Yeah, every time.
green even.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and for anyone who has a copy of 33 1/3, hold on to them because they're going to be worth money on Discogs. You know,
Everything's going to be worth money.
well, yeah. I mean, because there wouldn't have been too many pressed of the mustache cover.
Not too many pressed of anything.
Yeah,
I
this
think-
is true.
I might be someone's best investment, no matter what it is. You know,
There you go. Because there's very limited.
scarcity.
Yes,
It's a scarcity factor.
that's the perfect
And
word
I would
for it.
advise people to, I don't know,
Invest.
just, help me out some night.
Well, think of I've never. I'm curious. Do you like Robert Johnson?
Do I
Are you
like
a
Robert
fan?
Johnson?
Are you a fan?
A fan?
It just makes me think that because you mentioned scarcity, and I think there's 33 songs. I think something like that. Like that's all there is. That's it.
Yeah.
So, well, I don't know how many songs. Well, I certainly you have more than 33. But scarcity.
It's a thing. It is. I've got a cassette that I haven't put out. I can't until the divorce goes through. According to my advisors, whoever they are might be. It's scarce. I only made 50. And I'm just like,
You're sitting
if
on.
there's anybody off the island who, because it pertains to some, made the producer want to back off the project.
Now, is this the most recent album? Like you've got the 50 tapes?
Well, it's an album that I made since the triple disc that I put out, Water, Blood, and Whiskey. That's a
Right.
triple disc.
Yeah.
I've run out of I only made 100 of those, and it's a good thing I did.
Yeah.
Because there were improvements that were necessary,
Right.
and my financier, my beloved sister
Right.
Beth, quite judiciously declared that if I have a tour or whatever,
Right.
she'll contribute the necessary funds to that,
Yes.
so that I'll have it to sell on any tour I do.
Yeah. Right.
But I was this close to setting up a tour, but I'd rather do it when there's actually a demand, right? And I don't have to be the one that's the only one that's trying to make it occur, right? Even if it's something, I'm 57, so she made the right call because she's got to support me in many ways, right? With the 2 double vinyl albums that have been in the works this year.
What
And
are
those were written and recorded since the suppressed cassette album
Right.
that I haven't released or whatever, and that's a full album.
So you're sitting here on an unreleased album. It kind of brings to mind Well, Prince has his the Black album, which and then there was Beach Boys. Brian Wilson, he had Smile.
Neil had a few.
And now we
I
find
didn't even really realize or could ever conceive of a reason why an album would need to be suppressed. But those people could tell you. It happens.
It's shocking that to hear that there are actually people who did not want their names associated with this project.
And I can't mention any of the others either.
No, we wouldn't want you to.
Because they don't want their name.
Mm-hmm. No, I understand that.
All I did was speak the truth from a very dire and desperate vantage point. Some of these people didn't even need to hear. If there was any controversy around it perceivable, then they didn't want to get mixed up in that. But the only thing I didn't appreciate, perhaps, was like being discouraged from dealing with that, because if that wasn't the time to deal with it, with your writing and your recording and your expressing of your position, like when was that going to happen? Like, I wouldn't make that album today, like tonight, but I have sat on it or whatever, and it's there. I did it.
Right.
It would speak to a lot of, perhaps more like the male-born people.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah.
And some of the things that they have to go through in this day and age.
Yeah.
You know? And I wish it was out there, like, speaking to them right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sit on it.
Yeah.
For fear of, like, conjuring up the devil or something, you know?
Well, I, for one, look forward to hearing it. And I just know in my heart of hearts that someday we will all get a chance to hear it.
Oh, yeah.
And someday.
Yeah.
You know, not today, maybe not tomorrow.
You can take one home tonight because I trust you, you know.
There's a lovely video of you. You're in the video, and it's your song, but it's not your version of the song. StompinTom.com.
StompinTomConnors.com.
Thank you.
You don't understand. What you just said, StompinTom.com,
Right.
is the actual website.
Oh!
But I wrote that song out in Hunter River, too.
Right.
And I couldn't get I had patchy internet, scammed off the neighbors.
Yeah.
You could do that. They didn't all have passwords, I guess.
Yeah, that's right.
So it was perfect. Like,
Yeah.
it was odds on, odds off.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't waste too much time trying, you know, but sometimes I could. That day, no go. And I was writing this song for Stomp Tom because my friend Eric Edward had suggested I do after he heard the one I wrote for Gene.
Right. Yeah.
And so I got down to this and I wrote it out there. I think that's when I lost my daughter. Like, she was so tired of me hammering out the details.
Yeah.
But she was there for that.
It was you had the patchy internet, so you weren't able to actually look up the website to see what it actually was. So you imagined that it was StompinTomConnors.
I wasn't sure.
.com.
I couldn't get a hold. There was a person I couldn't get the internet. If there was a question, I couldn't get a hold of her, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go ahead and write the song anyway, right?
Right.
And that just goes to show, like, unfortunately, I was wrong.
But rhythmically, it works better, your version.
Oh, I had to stick with that.
Yeah.
I couldn't lose it.
Yeah.
And I had to stick with that. But the damn shame of it was, if you really want to know,
Yeah.
was like, on that recording, on both recordings. Like I had an earlier version that's on YouTube that's got a picture of Stomp Tom.
Yes.
With
the beer.
Beer.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know, somebody. That was the demo, I guess. You know, like I pictured like something a bit more with a beat.
Okay, yeah.
But it had everything but a beat on the demo recording. It was perfectly fine. But that's what you find on YouTube.
Right.
I never made a video of my own for my version.
Right.
Nudie did, thank God. Like, that was enormous, right?
He did a lovely version of
He
it.
certainly did.
And it's just, I love all the footage of Charlottetown in the winter.
Yeah.
And the black and white, and you're doing the thing. It's priceless.
Did you do
It's
that?
priceless.
I was like,
I love that. Love that. So,
I wish I'd checked myself in the mirror that
oh,
day.
you look great, Al. You look great. You always look great.
Those are hard times, but
it's you perfectly. It's rock star fair. Rock star fair.
Sure. But so I couldn't verify what the name of the website was because I was naming the song after the imaginary website.
Which makes sense because Stompin' Tom used to do the phone number, right? He did that PEI
I wanted it
phone.
to be like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That was my main thought. I've forgotten that. Yeah. Because it was like the ferry phone number.
The ferry phone number.
877-965-7421.
There you go, folks. Call the number.
I didn't sing it that good, but I remembered the numbers.
That's amazing.
It's still the number, or it was a few years.
Is it? Now I understand that on that recording is actually Stompin' Tom's fiddle player.
This is what I was getting at. Yeah, the great shame of it is, to my mind, is that on account of me having like sometimes several projects on the go, and like horses running a race to see which one gets there first.
Yeah.
And like the one that looks like it might be like coming up the rear, I put that on the shelf.
Right.
Let it sit there for a while. And Fair Country was an example of that, I think. And or whatever case, like it was delayed in coming out. And if I'd have been a bit quicker sharing it with Billy McGinnis, the great island fiddler, prodigy, and guitar player prodigy, who played on it, and Stranger at the Wake, it occurs to me, earlier on that album.
Yeah.
Perhaps I could be sure that, like, Stompin' Tom might have heard it.
Yeah.
But it was sitting there on the shelf until I had my country album ready or whatever.
Well, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
So
timing.
It just goes to show, like, if you have anything to share it now. Well, if you're talking about your great Canadians, I don't imagine you'll be talking too long before you talk about the great Tom Connors, better known as Stompin' Tom. He's a legend living on. He come a ways from his old Spud Island. They couldn't keep him up in Skinner's Pond. From Bonavista Vista to Tuktoyaktuk, he spun the people's songs. And someone spun one for you, Tom. I got to find out where he'll be playing. Go get your laptop, baby, log on to StompinTomConnors.com. StompinTomConnors.com. While you talk about your humble beginnings, where he was born back in old St. John. But life's a game that lasts 9 innings. It ain't over till they're gone. Connors came from behind and won. With a board that he kicked and a pen and a pick in the boot, he'd travel this land.
talking to the folk with a beer and a smoke you could have won in either hand. He was everywhere in demand. A radio wouldn't go for his records, you know, although the listeners wish they could hear somebody sing about where they come from. It was a radical idea. You wonder what they have to fear. I got to find out where he'll be playing. Go get your laptop, baby, log on to StomperTomConnors.com. StomperTomConnors.com. Connor's tone. Before the fame he was a drifter, a natural-born rolling stone, with all of Canada his home. So if you're talking to a great Canadian, you could be talking to Stompin' Tom. And if you're not too sure what to say to him, just say I'll be moving on. I'm going to miss you when I'm gone. I got to find out where he'll be playing. Go get your laptop, baby, log on to StomperTomConnors.com. 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 StomperTomConnors.com.
Yeah, good point.
You know, unless you have a very good reason not to.
Yeah. Yeah, why sit on it?
But on the other hand, one time in Ottawa,
yeah,
after a rather challenging drive, I think all the way from Toronto,
yeah,
up the number 7, I arrived probably just in time, really, to play a gig there near Chinatown there in Ottawa.
Yeah.
There was a mysterious young man who looked, I thought he was Matt Mays. When I came up, I thought he was Matt Mays. He was a doppelganger.
Oh, wow.
Matt Mays.
Right.
And like, I'm talking like on the drive, ice and...
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I was just like, I guess I was lucky to... There was a parking spot right across the street from the venue.
Right, yeah.
I'd played it before under another name.
Right, yeah.
No, my name was the same, but the venue changed.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, out of the venue comes like this... I could have sworn he was Matt Mays. It was a young fella who was like apparently some sort of what they call a super fan. I feel like he was like otherworldly or not even real because what he told me, like, and I was just glad to like settle in with somebody who was like so keen and such a lovely guy. Just to get acclimatized again to the bar room thing.
Yeah.
Before I played, and we talked, and he said, "You know, Al, the first time I heard your name, Stompin' Tom said it from the stage." As one of these guys that he thought was all right.
Wow. That's amazing. Wow.
Billy has not told me that. This guy was like somebody that hadn't existed before or after, I don't think.
Well, it's not surprising to me that you thought that he may have been Matt Mays because I know like whenever you play, especially in Toronto, well, anytime you pull into like a spot like Ottawa or Peterborough, like anyone who's like has a maritime connection is going to come out, you know, to see you play. So, I mean, you must run into a lot of people from down home, like when you're when you're playing gigs.
Only if they get wind of it, right?
Yeah.
But this was pretty crazy because this was just something fell out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And here he was telling me that he remains the only person to ever tell me
Yeah.
that Stompin' Tom knew who the hell I was and even recommended me from the stage.
Yeah.
He said it was, but like, get this. Okay, the guy, whether he was real or not,
Yeah.
and his problems certainly seemed real. Like he was similar to mine. Estrangement from the family, or like the discombobulation of the family, and he had a child too, and I played him what I had, that was fresh.
Mm-hmm.
He had to be real, but like, in the morning, when it was time for us all to go, he had somewhere to get to too, as well.
Yeah,
and I had to be somewhere. I think south of Ottawa, thank God, not too far.
Yeah.
But just to get out of town,
mm-hmm.
he suggested that, like, he lead me out of town. So,
right, with his vehicle.
Yeah, just lead me out.
Yeah.
So I couldn't lose him, right?
Yeah.
Well, I stopped like he did at the intersection.
Yeah.
When he got out of his car, went back, opened up the trunk, put on the cloak, one of the cloaks that he had back there.
Yeah.
Which he had last worn at the Neil Young the secret, publicly invited Neil Young concert.
Right, yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah.
He had already freaked out Neil Young wearing one of these things, which was modeled after, like, the outfits that Neil Young's roadies wore on that tour in the 70s.
Yes.
Rust Never Sleeps?
Yeah, that's right.
Or one of those tours.
Yeah.
He had the road eyes, right? I think they were called road eyes.
Road eyes, yeah.
Maybe it was like a cyclops inside the hood with the robe.
Yeah.
Down below.
And he pulled this out of his trunk and he put it on.
He got out of his car at the intersection.
Yeah.
At the lights. Opened up the trunk. Pulled out, because he had mentioned it in conversation, I guess.
Right, he wanted to show it to you.
He put this thing on so I could see that.
Right.
Just before he lost me, he went right, and I had no choice but to continue flying to the left.
Yeah.
And I went many miles over the mark that day.
You were on your own.
And I had to straighten it up from there.
Yeah.
But I'll never forget the guy wearing the same outfit and he appeared at the Neil Young show. He got sucked in and was in the backstage.
Yeah.
And he weirded out Neil Young in such a big way.
Yeah.
And Neil just didn't want to talk to him.
Yeah.
Of course, because he was like wearing something from a 1976 tour. Or something,
Yeah, that would be a little freaky.
So what is up with this guy? And what is his names were like English names. There were not just two of them. Like,
well, if you're listening, Guy, drop us a comment and say hi. Reconnect. Al made it home okay, even though you kind of veered off and did your thing. But we'd like to hear from you. Yeah. Speaking of people mentioning you on stage, you probably remember this. Actually, I just mentioned it in today's show, that I recorded earlier today. It was when Buck 65 got signed by Warner and he put out his first major label album on Warner, and then the ECMAs were in Halifax that year, and he won like all the awards. And do you remember that when he came out? I was in the audience, and he came out and he said, "I would like to thank College Radio and Al Tuck."
Yeah.
Do you remember that?
That meant so much to me.
Yeah, and that was heartfelt. That was heartfelt. He meant that.
That couldn't have meant any more to me. Like, can you imagine, like, Well, no, you can't, because check this out. How I heard that and saw it.
Right.
If you could say I saw it, because the television that my roommate Gordy Roach
Yes.
had, or no, it wasn't his. It was my TV, I guess. But like,
Yeah.
he watched it. It was a big ass TV.
Yeah.
And Gordy would be sitting in front of it ordinarily, and sometimes I'd find a place nearby if there was anything on.
Yeah.
But the screen, it was like the tubes were all shut, and the
Right.
screen, everything on the screen was flying left and right.
Okay. Right. Yeah.
And like, it was something to watch, but
Yeah.
like, it wasn't really clear television.
Yeah. It wasn't really cohesive.
And
visually.
the ECMAs were on, and I came back maybe to the apartment,
Yeah.
and I was like a bit into it, I guess,
Yeah.
And it was Rich, like, was he emceeing that night?
No, that was his acceptance speech. He got up on stage, and that's he won a few awards, but that was the first award that he won that night.
Well, he got big into name checking me every time he played.
Oh, did he
I used to
really?
go to hear him play just to get the name check after a while,
right.
or whatever, like, right?
Oh, that's great.
But when
yeah.
it came down to the album that was released on that label you mentioned,
Yeah.
it's funny because, okay, Rich Turfry and I both worked at the Blower Street Paper Chase. Me earlier on and him later.
Okay, right.
Right?
Yes.
So a lot of times we talk, I'd be going in there just as a customer now for smokes and what have you.
Yeah.
Right? And he was behind the counter where I used to work.
Right.
And that's where we'd have some talks there. And there was one day, I don't know how it came up, but he had a lyric that he'd been performing. He hadn't recorded it yet for Warner, but like he'd been playing this, and I was like actually getting off on it, like every time he did, where he said like, every girl I know has a crush on Al Tuck. Woman's intuition. I'm not sure about Lady Luck. There could be something else. There's a rhyme for Tuck.
Yeah, and he would lay this on
Every
you
girl I know has a crush on Al Tuck.
right.
And he would sing this at the show, and I'd be like, I mean, I was so nearsighted, I couldn't even like look around and see who had noticed this, or like who, like I was blind, almost.
Yeah.
But I would enjoy, I mean, I have to confess, I got something out of that.
Well,
like,
of course, yeah. Well,
but when it came time for him to record it, or like when we talked about my reaction to it,
yeah.
I was far too maritime in my way of talking about it. I was like, that kind of puts me in a funny position. Right?
Sure, yeah. Yeah.
That was my way of saying thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But he thought I had some issue with him saying
Right.
that.
So he didn't.
So when he recorded the album,
Yeah.
I don't know if it's blank for a while or he just left it out.
Yeah.
And it's not there for history either, you
Yeah.
know. But we had that job in common, and we shared many gigs, me and Rich. And
Well, it's
the
interesting.
label saw us as two misfits or whatever that could be put together and juxtaposed, hip hop and folk or what have you.
But
know.
both very literary. I mean,
Literary.
both
that
the,
must have
the
been
two
it,
of you are very literary writers, and it makes perfect sense. Actually, that would be a lovely collaboration. Rich, if you're listening, phone home. We would like to hear a collaboration between yourself and the esteemed Al Tuck, who
We've done
talking
it.
to here.
He contributed turntablism to that new High Road a Song album.
Okay, you see, that's interesting because I wouldn't have known who he was the first time because I was in Toronto at the time, and I didn't get to know Rich because he was Stinkin' Rich? Was
Way
that-
back when he
way
was,
back
yeah.
when he was a
He
kid.
was 7 different names.
Yeah,
Jesus
exactly.
Murphy.
Yeah, right.
You name
That's
it.
right. Yeah. But speaking of collaborations, and there's something I want to ask you about. You did a wonderful piece of work with Joel on that In Need of Medical Attention. I love when that song that the two of you sing together, because you're the doctor. I think you're singing the character of the doctor, and it just, your voice just comes out of nowhere, and it's so moving. It's a very emotional
I haven't
album.
heard that in years.
Yeah, you know what? I just downloaded it from Apple Music onto my phone the other day. I haven't heard it in years either. But now, is it true that I had heard, Tracy Stevens told me this, that how that album came to be was that someone had just got either a 4-track or an 8-track that Joel maybe just got this new thing, and he just wanted to see like how it worked, and that all of a sudden like this album came about, and I seem to remember Tracy telling me that all of you went down to New York City and played. You didn't play a show
I
in
didn't.
New York.
Tracy did.
Oh, okay. I'm remembering this wrong because I thought it must have been another gig, because I remember him telling me that he had shared like a long, maybe it was to Toronto or Montreal, but I must be getting the two stories mixed up.
I did hear about that, but like I wasn't involved in that.
Oh, okay, you didn't play the New York gig. No. Okay. All right. Well, that's certainly something listeners to listen for, is Al's contribution to that album. The very first album by Joel Plaskett after he went solo. Wonderful album. You're in for a real treat if you haven't heard it.
And it kind of, if you haven't heard his latest album, it seems in some way companion piece, a bookend perhaps.
To In Medical Attention.
I would say, because like I do believe it was recorded on 4-track largely, and usually by himself.
Really? Okay, I'll have to look for that, because he's got the studio in Dartmouth, right? Was it New Scotland?
Yeah, he's
Records.
got the whole studio, but like for this occasion, I feel like he's harkened back to the those initial first 4-track maneuverings of his post Thrush Hermit career.
And he has that wonderful homage to you in there's a reason why I love this town. It's bittersweet, because I remember how happy you were then. I ran into you at the pizza place. Was it was it
Which
Razzie?
one?
No, not Pizza Corner.
No.
The place that had like the largest slice. Like it was massive.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
you
there were
need-
but the two joints were competing on it.
yes, they were. Yeah.
You mean on the corner or next to it?
No, next to it.
Yeah.
And you had just got your place, and you were so happy because
2 doors down?
Yeah, because I remember, like you've done your fair share of couch surfing over the years, right? And but you had finally got your place in Halifax, and I remember just exchanging a few words with you as we were like getting our pizzas, and like a month later, the damn place burns down, and I
down on Gottich?
yeah.
Oh, right.
And,
yeah. I
mean,
had been at loose ends until I found just the place that I
And you
actually
were
wanted.
Yes, and everyone who I knew we were all just so happy for you that it was it was just so evident on your face that it's like, yeah, check out Al. He's got his own place. He's it's just everything's coming together.
And some kids like that were affiliated with some younger fellows I knew.
Yeah.
actually assisted me one day in like I don't know how we pulled it off, bringing together like lying around different parts of town. Well,
Right.
I was over in England, for a bit, and I had to cut loose, right?
Yeah.
But all it was like laying around different friends' places, and they helped. I'll never forget like how like the Just Friends crowd, like I don't know if it was Matt or any of those people, I didn't really know the even younger crowd that pitched in that day,
Yeah.
so I could have it in one place.
Yeah. Exactly.
Just for the fire, as it turns out.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Just in time to lose it all.
yeah.
Except there's your guild. You made it out of the building.
Thank God
with
I
your
had
guild.
had that with me
Yeah.
when that burned, and
And-
I wasn't there, and I never had to deal with the aftermath, and I don't know who got anything that survived that fire.
I'll tell you, we were worried because when we didn't know too much at the time, and we didn't know if you were there. Like
You
literally-
were worried.
Well, yeah.
I was right on the inside. I was at she was my girlfriend after that,
Yeah. Yeah.
Sam Halley,
Right.
and I only took the guild over to her place that night simply because I had like an idea for some sort of riff that morning on it.
Yeah.
She had a banjo. I could have played her banjo,
Yeah.
but like only because I had an idea that morning.
Yeah.
And that's the reason I took it with me. And it's all I had after that fire.
Yeah.
But like Sam was the first one down there because she had an appointment to go with Gordy Roach to the bank.
Oh, okay. Right.
She was going to accompany him to the bank.
right.
We weren't that long together by then,
Yeah.
but it got to the point where like she was assisting my roommate there in the place
Yeah.
in Gottingen Street, Gordy Roach,
Right. Yeah.
legendary titan of country and rockabilly music, Gordy Roach.
Yeah.
And she had a bank appointment, oddly,
Yeah.
with him, right?
Right. She's doing her banking with Gordy Roach.
I slept in at her place,
Right.
and she went down. She came back to her place and said, "I can't get down there. Like it's all blocked off. There's plumes of smoke billowing through the blue sky of this cold January morning or February morning."
Yeah.
And she couldn't get down into the area
Yeah.
because of this fire that was going on.
Right. Yeah.
So she and I drove back and parked outside the cordoned off area, walked in, and saw the whole place in flames.
And this is your home. Your home is on fire.
Yeah, but I was worried that Gordy was in there.
Where was Gordy?
Well, I don't know where he was at that moment when we saw the flames overtaking my room, but thank God, like I don't know if I've ever been happier.
Oh yeah.
We took refuge at Terry Pulliam's Sound Market Studios, which was still a thing.
Right. Yeah.
Even that by then,
Yeah.
I think that's where we were.
Wow.
Sitting in the front room. It's the reception area, really.
Mm-hmm.
We weren't recording.
No, you were living.
And I've never been more grateful
Yeah.
to see like anybody walk by
Yeah.
in like such a good mood.
Right.
Gordy Roach.
Yeah.
There he was. So I run out the door and I say, "Hey, Gord, come on in." And I think I probably had a way easier time with all that on account of his good spirit.
He helped
His
pull you through
attitude
it.
toward that.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd lost in a fire not even a year before.
Oh, he'd already been
nearby
Yeah.
in his place. I never went to his place before then. We were just becoming more affiliated, right?
Yeah.
Because of the open mic at the Hell's Kitchen, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I just had never been to his place.
Yeah.
But that's where he lost his film gear and his pedal steel and all this.
Right.
And I saw him that same day after that fire come in through the window at another girlfriend's place in the South End.
The first fire.
Shirtless. And Gordy was like, I was on the news shirtless.
You know how they say, like, not just the shirt on his back. And it's like he literally did not have a shirt on his back.
No, he was on the news.
And he was shirtless.
And that's funny, the first thing he said.
Yeah.
Now, the less I say about the fire, the better. Because, like, would be entertaining for your listeners, but not anything I ever wanted to dwell on.
No, certainly not. No, we don't want to
Until,
dwell.
like, the Shibishi came out with a docudrama, a radio play, all about that same fire. It was a big fire, right?
Yeah. It's
I
explosions.
played a benefit organized by my Aunt Barb
Right.
in Chester, where I saw pictures of the fire. They're like, I wasn't there for that. On every door in the place in Chester. It's the only time I ever played there.
Really?
Was a benefit for my own poor ass self.
Right. You're playing your own. You
And
played
I
your
got
own
to see
benefit.
like vantage points of my own oblivion,
Right. From the
material oblivion.
right.
At the benefit I was playing for amongst others, for myself, right? Like,
Yeah. I don't think there's too many people who can say that they played at their own benefit. Right.
Well, it was an excuse for me to play down there, like,
Yeah.
Anybody needed one. Like,
Speaking of playing, you played some pretty big gigs. Like I seem to remember you telling me that you opened for some like big rock band thing, and I think maybe it was just you and your acoustic. Was it? It was like some not edge.
there's a bunch of bands all at once.
Yeah.
Because like back in the 90s, it wasn't what do you call Lollapalooza,
Yeah.
but they had Lollapalooza the weekend before.
Yeah.
This was Molson Rocks, or
Right.
something,
Yes, I remember those. Yeah.
you know. So you had Nine Inch Nails and Soundgarden,
Yeah.
and but funnily, at the time,
Yeah.
not even very noticeable to me. It wasn't until I looked at my memorabilia, dug it out of a box,
Yeah.
and looked at the ad years later.
Right.
Marilyn Manson.
So you opened for Marilyn Manson.
Well, take your pick.
No,
And 6 other heavy Ontario bands, maybe. I don't know.
was it just you solo, or was it with no action? It was just you and your acoustic.
It wasn't only just me solo.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was me with no amplification.
Why did you not have amplification?
Because I brought my own sound man
Oh, okay.
who had been recording me. He was the first person to ever record me in a studio in Halifax.
Right.
And I knew him from university, Nick Holmes.
Right.
And at the time, I think that might have been could that have been around the time I was recording my blues, what turned out to be my Blues Away
Yeah.
with him? Because, like, he was, for some reason, like, Blue Rodeo and he was the only sound man that Eric's Trip trusted.
Right.
Or wanted on their gigs, if,
Yeah.
you know.
You recorded with Blue Rodeo, right? There's some recordings that you guys did.
Well, yeah, Nick would have them.
Yeah.
But, like, just try to find him.
Yeah.
He's just-
Trying to hunt these, getting back to scarcity, right?
Yeah.
Trying to hunt these people down.
Blue Rodeo bestowed upon Nick as their engineer the annual privilege of recording somebody else that he wanted to record in their nice studio there on the Danforth.
And that was you, right?
And on that year, it was me.
Oh, amazing.
And I'm very grateful for that.
Wow.
And Greg Keeler did come in the first night, and we jammed a bit or whatever, but we got some good stuff out of that session, right?
Yeah.
And I'll always be grateful to Nick and Blue Rodeo for that. And all the instruments that they had, like it was like a garden of guitars
imagine.
and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
You know, like pick your Martin. And Angus Parks, this young prodigy out of Truro, or thereabouts, certainly through the Truro music program, which I forget the name of the music prof there, but like I certainly have had no quarrel with anybody came out of that.
Good program.
Angus Parks, I already knew his uncle. He was the only old guy back in the day that would like give me the time of day as a young fellow starting out or whatever, like, and encourage me and like made sure I had his Les Paul to play at the Pub Flamingo the first time I ventured off campus, you know, to play, right?
Yeah.
Ron Parks, a legend. He should be like Arlo Guthrie in this country or something, you know? But that was his uncle, rather. Angus was a young fella.
Right.
Not even 20.
Right.
Mutton chops.
Yeah.
Quart of something every day.
Yeah.
I mean, the stories I could tell about back in Halifax with him be one thing.
Yeah.
And he was not going to be playing music for much longer. The Tree Planet people were, you know, twiddling their thumbs and wondering when he was going to show up.
Yes.
We had 3 hours to do this.
Yeah.
In the Blue Rodeo studio.
Yeah.
And Angus sat down at the piano and delivered it. Right, like, and he introduced me to the upright bass player, and some of these trio tracks are on one of these albums, right?
Wow.
But after that, like, he went tree planting for a while,
right?
And then he was off to Sri Lanka.
Wow!
And somehow he came back from Sri Lanka, converted to Islam, and. That was the end of his music playing years.
He gave up his music.
Well, you know, prayer is more a better use of your time than music making, according to the part of Islam that he became a part of. And he raised a family and had like a softball-sized tumor in a MASH-like tent in the Middle East one time, and like survived that, and like came back and had all his offspring. And I saw him one day on Agricola Street in a white robe, and we hung up for a bit.
Wow.
Same old guy, really.
Yeah, nice.
Angus Parks.
Wow.
But that was the end of his blues and rock and roll piano playing career.
That
like,
was
and
it.
he was the most gifted. I've known like the most gifted people. And many of them like turned to religion.
Right.
Soon after they worked with me.
There might be something to that.
I don't know. It's weird.
Friday night at the pub, and my eyes, they've been roving, looking in vain for someone just like you. To see you there just standing in the shadows, to see you there just looking like you do. Sure, I'm drunk On the rum, yes, I'm drunk, but I'm still standing. And you yourself have had more than a few. I propose a toast to our newfound understanding of how I love you, and I'll tell you again, I do. Oh dear, you blew in my ear. Ooh, you damn near do me justice. Said you damn near do me justice. On the stage, they're just going through the motions. Come in here close, loving to take your eyes off him. I fail to see what's causing the commotion. There might be better men than me, but he's not one of them. Won't have you thinking I've just jumped on some bandwagon. 'Cause I went Celtic when Celtic was not cool. But I ain't no good at all that schmoozing and the nagging. And I try not to toot my own horn as a rule. Oh dear, you blew in my ear. Ooh, you damn near do me justice. Said you damn near do me justice. Damn near do me justice. Do me justice.
So earlier tonight, when I first got here, you were telling me that there is a documentary in the works about Well, it's obviously it's about you, but your career, your life in music.
Yeah, Brian Harrington.
Okay.
I mean, he saw me play once back in the 90s, and we have a mutual friend who actually kind of put him up to it. Ronak Sarkar. You remember Ronak?
Then, oh yes, yeah, of course, yeah,
Or can you envision Ronak?
yeah, very, very, very much so, yeah.
Yeah. And that's the way it was put to me. Like Ronak suggested to his friend who had seen me once.
Yeah.
I mean, he's into film and television in the UK.
Yeah.
That he do something like, it seems far-fetched, but Brian Harrington. There's another Harrington.
Right.
Gregory, I think.
Okay, yeah.
Who, after like the fellows that the Brobdingnagian guy, Dennis,
Yes.
brought in from Toronto
Right.
to give images, they put it in the coast,
Yeah.
to the local talent. Mm-hmm. After we failed to see eye to eye on my concept or any concept of for my video for Eliminate You,
This is
because
legendary.
I wanted like Rock'em Sock'em, like Don Cherry.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it was supposed to be a sports anthem, and I wanted
for Eliminate.
footage of like
Yeah.
sports, right?
Yeah. Makes sense.
And I thought like that was it. But when Buddy brought in like the video guys,
Yeah.
and they wanted to make a video out of this, I thought like now's my chance. We met at the Midtown in Halifax,
Yeah.
and we talked it over, but they said no can do. Too expensive. We would rather I think they had a script there where like every lyric that I'd written in the song
Yeah.
would be represented on screen, right? Like puppy dogs and things. But that's not, I wanted like a succinct, something like
Yeah.
striving for the sports world, right?
You know, I think after
couldn't
all,
do it.
I think you're ultimately right, because I never knew until this very moment that that's what the song was about, that it was a sports anthem, and that if you had been able to make your video, and people would have associated the song with sports, because I remember clearly in the late 70s, it was the very first time that the New York Islanders won the Stanley Cup. And when they won it, it was the very first time I'd ever heard it. They played We Are the Champions. It was the very first time I ever heard that. And I thought, wow, this is really weird, because they didn't play rock and roll in hockey games back then. It was all just the organ. That was it. And and it's kind of novel now, but so it was really weird hearing a rock and roll song for this sports team that had just won a championship.
Can you imagine how I felt? Because like I was a Queen fan.
Right.
When there weren't any others on the island,
No.
I didn't think.
No, there weren't.
Until
No.
like Crazy Little Thing Called Love.
Yeah.
And another one, Bites the Dust.
That's right.
There's another sports anthem.
Yeah, that's right.
We're occupying like 2 songs out of the top 5 on CFCY.
Yeah.
I reacted to the CFCY top 5 with
Yeah.
Queen and occupying 2 songs
Yeah.
as like vindication.
Yeah, that's right.
Because like my sister bought me News of the World the year that came up, and she later like poured scorn on Queen because like her friends were.
Yeah.
They were more into Springsteen before he broke up. But I was like flying with this Queen business. Bought every album they had, right?
Look at Mozart. Okay, we talked about Robert Johnson earlier.
We didn't talk about it
Well,
yet.
we just mentioned his
Let's
name.
talk about him
Let's
after
talk about
Wolfgang,
Robert
yeah.
Johnson. Okay, what is the thing that Robert Johnson and Mozart both have in common? Both buried in unmarked graves.
You talk about Robert Johnson. He's got 3 gravestones now.
That's right. Sure he does.
According to my friend Scott Prudence,
Yeah.
he's got a song called I think it's called 3 Gravestones.
They'll tell you they think they know. They'll take you out to the fields and they'll be like, well, there's no marker. All the grass is all overgrown, but we're pretty sure he's here. But for our listeners who, if you're not aware of Robert Johnson, well, I would strongly urge you to look him up. He basically wrote the whole foundation, the basis of what people who followed him came to call rock and roll, the blues. And he only recorded, there was some 33 songs that he recorded, each and every one a gem. I believe he recorded them in a hotel room in Texas.
San Antonio.
Yeah, it was a traveling record guy who would go to the hotel.
Don Law.
Yeah, and they put the word out that they were going to do some recording in the hotel room.
And Don Law was still producing records in Nashville in the 50s.
In the 50s. Well, see, that's the thing, because Robert Johnson, John Hammond was doing a big show at Carnegie Hall, and he wanted to celebrate all of these artists from all over America, these grassroots artists, and he wanted Robert Johnson. And he sent someone down to find him, only to find that he had been murdered 6 months earlier. I don't even think he was 30 when he died.
Yeah, he might be in the 27 Club.
Yeah, he might be close to that. But there's a wonderful film that John Hammond Jr. made called Searching for Robert Johnson.
He made that?
He made that film, yeah.
I seen John Hammond Jr. play 2 or 3 times in Halifax.
Yeah, and
I didn't know he made that film.
Yeah, it's a wonderful film. I can't recommend it enough. It's kind of the definitive story on him. I remember
There's a book that came out more recently, perhaps, that would appear to have had some inside information or have gone the extra mile with the research.
Nice.
I lent that out to a friend, so it's not up there, but with people like that, you have to put together the pieces, right?
Well, with Hammond, he was able to find, in this movie, he found Robert Johnson's marriage certificate,
Yeah.
and he found his death certificate. And for the cause of death, what is written there is 2 words: no doctor.
Okay.
No doctor.
Well, this book that I had for a while there was more specific about the cause of the death.
Poisoning.
Yeah, but not outright like an attempt at murder. It sounded like...
It was the jealous husband, was it not?
No. It was the proprietor of the establishment.
Oh, right, okay.
And the proprietors of such establishments were accustomed in those days to the lone bluesman coming through town and creating havoc, shall we say, with the clientele, local clientele.
Right.
Between the men and the women.
Sure, yeah.
Right? And it sounded as if the verdict in this book that I read, that I have lent out to Mike Dixon, a great blues man from Summerside, PI.
Nice.
Like there aren't enough of us. The proprietor, they were in the habit of like doling out mild poison, shall we say.
Sure.
Not so as not to kill the person,
Yeah. But to make them feel rather uncomfortable.
but to put them out of commission
Yeah. Yeah.
for the time being,
Sure. Yeah.
right? Mm-hmm. And this is what was done, but in combination with Robert Johnson's current medical conditions, like he had problems,
Yes.
health problems.
Yeah.
In combination with those, he was unable to make it through
Yeah.
and live.
Yeah.
And it was not necessarily a all-out intent to kill with this poisoning. And it wasn't a particular boyfriend. It was the proprietor of the
The
establishment.
Right.
Because they were in the habit of like doing this.
So what's next, Al? What's your what is there a well, you've got the film that's being made right now. Do you well, we know that you have the album that's in the can. It's going to stay in the can for the time being.
Well, I try to think about it as much as I can, but like I'm doing it in another place over in Halifax, the 2 double vinyl records of the 30 songs that I wrote coming out of the lockdown, you know, and
So you have 2 double vinyls coming out. So for a total of 4.
by the spring, I would say confidently,
Wow.
yeah, I would have hoped they'd be out, you know, like. But
How many songs would that be on like 2 double albums?
30 songs, yeah.
Wow. Wow.
And
So-
then I got
and-
10 since then, and that seems like an easy number to deal with.
Right.
And I for sure like to
After
record those
Yeah.
on the cheap somewhere
Yeah.
soon.
There you go, listeners. So Al's looking to record.
Not with just anybody.
No, not just with someone with an iPhone. You know, we're looking for something good, you know, for Al. So that's pretty substantial. You're sitting on 2 double albums, 30 songs, just come after having come off releasing a triple album. How many songs were on the triple album?
30.
60 songs. These are 60 new Al Tuck songs I have not heard.
I don't think anybody, well, no, lots of people are tons prolific, but like you have to look at the quality of the material.
Yeah.
And like, it just seems funny to me, like, because like at a certain point through all this, more so when I was writing them, I guess it occurred to me that like I might be on one of the most prolific streaks
Yeah.
in history, in the history of this. Right?
Well, yeah, 60 songs.
But the perception, because I can't put out one of the albums, for safety's sake,
Yeah.
and just snuck in the triple disc without too much fanfare,
Yeah.
and these 2 double vinyl records haven't come out, the perception would be that I'm inactive.
Yeah.
But I'm
yeah.
actually like on one of the greatest rolls
Right. Yeah,
that
you're
have happened, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, like,
you're incredibly prolific at this point.
but I can't show it, like, or you can't know it. Like, there's no way of it becoming real like that, you know? So it's a damn shame, but like, I'm sure it'll all come out in the wash.
It most certainly will come out in the wash. And is the triple album on? Can people buy it on Bandcamp?
Hell yeah.
Great, good stuff. Okay, well, we'd mentioned that earlier, so we're all going to take to Bandcamp and go to the
Water,
Al-
blood, and whiskey.
Water, blood, whiskey. Okay, guaranteed. This is going to be the next purchase that this guy makes. I must confess, as much as an Al Tuck fan that I am, I did not know that you had a triple album
I'm
out.
sorry, like I got one copy left. I only made 100, like and it's a good thing because
Yeah.
it was flawed or in some way or whatever. Like, and my sister will pay for some more,
Yeah.
so long as I have a 3-week interim between whenever and when I go on tour or whatever. So long, because she cares that much.
Sure.
That I have my new triple disc.
Yeah.
It's not even new. It's like a clearinghouse.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it was recorded over a period of years, right?
Yeah. So I'm interested. Why the triple album instead of, say, releasing 3 different albums over, say, a period of like 5 years?
Because I pictured like having the proper promotion for each one, and I couldn't imagine that, especially when I've like up to so much since then.
Yeah.
I couldn't see like doing all that for each one.
Yeah.
One album.
Yeah.
And I had that much of a backlog where, like, you know, for obvious reasons, I mean, things weren't coming out or whatever. Like, and I had just like, it's a clearance house.
Sure. Yeah.
But blood is thicker than water. That's what they say, right?
Yep.
So the middle disc is blood.
Right.
And that pertains to family.
Yeah.
And my own daughter's on this.
She plays on it.
She sings.
Oh, lovely.
My son plays a bugle, memorably, a one-note bugle. It was like a town crier's horn.
Right.
That our late friend Bill McFadden had from his days as the town crier.
Wow.
On the song that I wrote for him thankfully before he died, right? Like, and I got to sing it for him.
Oh, amazing.
You know,
Yeah.
in Gordy's case, the song that I wrote for him on the same album, I think comes right before it. I wrote the song for him when I heard from the doctor at the Dartmouth General that he was in there, and
Right.
I was his next of kin, apparently. Or
He put you
whatever.
down as next of kin.
Well, no, I'm not sure if he did.
Somebody did. Yeah.
Because he scratched me off the list later.
Oh, he
I don't know.
did.
But I wrote that song for Gordy before he died. I only included memorials for late friends if I wrote songs before they died. And they
Yeah.
was, so they could still be alive
Yeah.
as the listener was hearing it. And that's all in the first disc, Water,
Right.
which is less thick than blood, right?
Yeah, right.
So you got the blood disc. Third disc is, well, that's something else altogether. You know, like that's probably the best one, right? Like
Whiskey.
whiskey, yeah.
So why is whiskey the best one?
Because all the songs on that record were written, I think, almost without an exception, after I realized that the world was flat. And that to me is huge, right? Like, but the third disc stands up straighter and stronger, I would say, than the first two. As good as they are.
Yeah.
Whiskey disc.
The whiskey disc.
You know,
Nice.
I call it whiskey
Yeah.
just because it's liquids, right?
Yeah.
Water and blood.
Well, listen, Al, I really look forward to hearing the album. I'm very grateful that I'm now aware of the triple album.
I didn't know you didn't know.
No, but
Do I have 2 coffees?
No, I'm gonna get it on Bandcamp. I'm just grateful that it's there, and that I have access to it, that I'm going to be able to get to hear this album. Thank you very much for your introduction to the album for us all today. And, thank you for everything that you've contributed over the years. You are appreciated, and I'm speaking as a fan. I really appreciate you taking the time with us today, checking in, and we'll check in again. Can't wait until you've got the 10 that you've got now that you're going to record at some point. You've got the one that's unreleased. We've discussed that, and it will remain so until there's a time when it will come out eventually. But for the time being, we're going to go after the blood, water, whiskey. We're going to take that in.
Water, blood, and whiskey.
That's the order. Water, blood, whiskey.
Yeah.
Water, blood, whiskey.
Yeah, water, blood, and whiskey. Yeah.
Water, blood, and whiskey. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much, Al. We appreciate it. We wish you the best. And cheers. We'll be talking with you again. Okay, take
Love
care.
you, Sean.
Yeah, I love you too, man.
You're the best.
Too much blood on the cutting edge. Too much blood on the cutting edge. Stay in the vein where you belong. Stay in the vein where you belong. Buddha worked on his sermon up in the airplane, and then it touched down on the water off a California beach, where the native women in bikinis stole away the Buddha's speech. 40 days and 40 nights in Vegas. He had plans to burn the whole place down, until he ran into some luck shooting craps. But then he busted, and as the day broke, Buddha hitchhiked out of town. God knows he never should have left Hawaii. Curse the day he ever came to the U.S. Buddha went to Nashville to get recorded, but them session men, they couldn't get his sound. So some celebrities and assorted rich disciples, they rallied round. Keep going. But when they told him, never make no name for yourself, never make no name for no one else, they'll just shit on it. They're just gonna shit on it. Buddha fell in love with a woman, and to win her heart he tried in vain. He lost some weight and ran it out of harem, and went and got himself all fucked up on cocaine. God God knows he never should have left Hawaii. Curse the day he ever came to the U.S. Much blood on the cutting edge. Too much blood on the cutting edge. Stay in the lane when